The journey of caring for a loved one who is living with dementia can be quite challenging. The aim of this podcast is to make caregiving less daunting and more fulfilling. On this platform, we share knowledge, understanding, and experiences. We enlighten, give hope, and encourage, and in the process, create positive awareness about different aspects of dementia. Welcome to my podcast, Dementia Caregivers Corner. My name is Juliah. Dementia Care, how deep is your love? Welcome to today's episode. I'm truly excited about this one because it stems from the MSc in Dementia program that I've just completed with the University of Hull. While working on my dissertation, I identified a significant gap in the literature on dementia awareness in Botswana and across Sub-Saharan Africa. This realization led me to connect with someone truly inspiring, someone who not only shares this passion, but has also taken action to address it. Joining me today is a remarkable guest and a fellow countryman from Botswana, now based in the United States of America. Today, we will explore what dementia is. We'll talk about why low and middle income countries, including Sub-Saharan Africa, lack the equivalent of the term dementia and the impact that has on their awareness and care. We'll also discuss the behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia, as well as the incredible work our guest is doing through a non-profit organization dedicated to this cause. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome in today's episode Rre Mphathiwa. Mr. Mphathiwa, we welcome you to the Dementia Caregivers Corner podcast.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much.
Let's get into it. Rre Mphathiwa, as I've mentioned when I was reading through your introduction, we do not have the equivalent of the term dementia in Setswana or other languages in Africa. If you were to meet with someone who hasn't heard of the word dementia, like I didn't know what dementia was 4 years ago, if you were to meet with someone who doesn't know what dementia is, how would you describe that term to that person?
Really, dementia is easily described as symptoms resulting from certain brain disorders. Okay, symptoms being a key word here because the symptoms vary as a result of there being different types of dementia. Dementia is an umbrella term that describes those different types of brain disorders, chief among them being the most popularly known, which is Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is one of the chief main brain disorders that we call dementia. So, in a nutshell, we can say that they are just brain disorders. They are degenerative brain disorders. Yeah, because unlike other ailments, for now dementia has no cure. So the brain keeps on degenerating.
Yes, I think I mentioned this before, maybe before we even started recording, that I had a grandma who died a few years ago. And I suspect that she might have had dementia. The reason being is only now that I'm realizing the symptoms that she exhibited then that, they are associated with dementia. But she was not diagnosed because obviously we don't have the infrastructure for that. I'm still going to take you back to the description of the word dementia, to a 94-year-old grandma from Maun who does not know English. How would you make it easier for that person to understand what dementia is in Setswana?
In Setswana is a huge mountain to climb, honestly, because one easier word that we use to describe dementia is to say someone has memory loss, a big memory loss. But then dementia is not characterized by memory loss alone. But for lack of a better word, we could say but then one would have to dissect that and explain what that means because there are so many things that are descriptive to dementia. One of
Mm.
the common part of it, memory loss.
Okay.
Yeah. So this 92-year-old Botswana grandmother cannot be done in one word like it's done in English. Oh, grandma, you've got dementia. No. In Setswana, you'd have to take time to explain by describing the characteristics of dementia.
Do you think then the fact that we don't have that word, the equivalent of that word in our languages, could it be the reason why we, maybe from Botswana or South Africa or Namibia or the rest of the sub-Saharan African countries, really, they associated with witchcraft?
Well, that is one of the factors that contribute to that being the case. But chief among them is ignorance by mainly our respective governments because we've got people that are trained for all types of health care professions, right? Now we've got brain surgeons, we've got all sorts of medical practitioners. Our respective governments have no input as far as dementia is concerned. I'll tell you, very few countries have a dementia policy in their healthcare plan. So for as long as there is no policy that addresses dementia, it's always going to be difficult to educate people on dementia. You
Okay,
understand?
I do.
Our healthcare, say, nurses, nurse aides in Botswana, they are blank when it comes to dementia.
Very blank.
Very, yeah.
Nothing. I looked when
So,
I was doing my dissertation, I found nothing.
so that is where the problem is because people have to be coached, taught, and trained to disseminate information about dementia. But for as long as our healthcare sector is blank when it comes to dementia, then we might as well have people all over the country calling this whatever it is that the first name that they can call it.
Yes, I think we'll get there. As we have started already, we will get somewhere, I believe. Let's move on. You know, Rre Mphathiwa, my late grandma used to accuse people of stealing from her. She would
Yeah,
hold things. She wouldn't let things go. She would exhibit all these symptoms that I later realized that they are dementia symptoms. Please tell Botswana and the rest of Africa, what are some of the symptoms of dementia? How does dementia manifest itself on the people that are living with it?
yeah. Mind you, dementia is not a disease, but the name dementia describes different types of diseases that fall under it because there are major types of dementia. One of them that is most popular, most commonly known, which affects 85% of people that are said to have dementia, is Alzheimer's disease. That is the most common. And remember, Alzheimer's is progressive, just like dementia is progressive. And then we've got diseases that fall under the same dementia, frontotemporal dementia. We've got vascular dementia. So they are different. And them being different, even the characteristics of a person that has dementia are different. But chief among that is forgetfulness, right? Yeah. But forgetfulness also differs. It's not someone that forgets your keys. It's not someone forgets to lock the door. No. And then again, it's the repetitiveness of that forget. Yeah. I remember when I was young, you walk home and then your grandmother all of a sudden, who are you? Yeah. The grandmothers used to ask, who are you? You take one corner, you come back here, forgotten who you are. Those are signs of dementia, right? Your grandmother goes into the house to pick up something. She comes back, she has completely forgotten what she went for. But someone that is healthy might do that. But like I said again, it's how often that happens. Someone will go to fetch water from the river and then completely get lost and end up elsewhere. It has happened a lot to my great grandmother, for example. So there are signs of dementia that we see every day, but because we've told ourselves it's a normal part of aging, we are not able to tell them it's dementia. Someone changes their character. Someone with, for example, frontotemporal dementia, right? They might change their character from being a very nice and mellow person to this aggression that you've never seen before. And then they start using expletives to anyone that passes or they see. I want, but the dementia is different because dementia is not one word that describes only one type of disease. It's a collective of diseases that fall under. So, like I said, there's Alzheimer's disease, there's vascular dementia, we've got Lewy body, we've got frontotemporal dementia. And each of these dementias has different signs that manifest onto a person that is afflicted.
Yes.
Of course, there are dementia such as traumatic brain injury. If someone was involved in a car accident, they might suffer dementia because that trauma may disrupt the brain function.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and these types of dementia are progressive. Yeah, they are irreversible. There is also alcohol-related dementia that we call ARD. It's caused by a long-term excessive consumption of alcohol. So that in itself also is very important to me to underline because in Africa we tend to do that a lot. Excessive use of substances is one common thing that we have in Africa. Not only in Africa but everywhere. But yeah, it causes neurological damage as well that cannot be reversed.
Right. I want to take you back. You mentioned an example of someone being aggressive. How would you assist someone like that? If you have a loved one who has dementia and they are aggressive, how would you assist them?
I will actually address the common mistakes before I address how to assist them.
Mm-hmm.
The common that we do is try to confine them. Sometimes lock them in the house, sometimes lock the gate, sometimes lock. It only serves to aggravate them, you see. So you have to find ways of easing them into who they are instead of trying to confine them. So talking is usually the best way of addressing this. There is no way of fighting the fire with fire, and if grandfather is up in arms, Luena, you are up in arms. No, it's always a need for patience, really. First, one has to understand before you can even address how to control them. You have to understand what it is that they are suffering from, what it is that they are living with. Only when you've understood what is happening is when you can be able to help. That's why there is a need for education of all the caregivers.
Yes, but then again, it takes us back to like the caregivers wouldn't know if these people are not diagnosed. All we know is that they have been bewitched or they are themselves are witches.
That is why it's important to educate our society. That is the basis of my forming Pelonomi. Forming Pelonomi was to try and educate our society on this scourge because it is a scourge, it's everywhere. So that is the reason for Pelonomi Foundation.
Okay. Talking about that, when did you form this foundation?
Yeah, I think it was formed in 2021 and it started its functionality towards mid 2021.
All right. And I've seen in your website that you are a member of Alzheimer's Disease International. Is there a benefit to that in terms of creating awareness to your target market, if I may put it that way?
We are blessed to be a member of ADI, Alzheimer's Disease International. We are also a member of Alzheimer's Foundation of America. There are benefits of being a member of those two bodies that I mentioned, in that we get invited to international conferences where we can take part. And apart from taking part, we can get to listen and learn a lot about how other organizations are making it in their respective countries. And then also there are programs that we call twinning programs, where an NGO that does what you do in Poland can invite you maybe for a week or two so that you can understudy a certain project of theirs. Same in Kenya, same in Zimbabwe. So it is quite beneficial in that regard.
Okay. How did Botswana receive your organization? Do they know the mandate? Do they understand the mandate for Pelonomi Foundation?
We have started a program which we are actually rolling out this year that will address this in quarter meetings. So we are still talking to the various chiefs. We piloted it last year and it was well received. We did it in Molepolole, we did it in Tamaga, we did it in Kanye, and it was well received, and a lot of them found it an eye opener. Yeah. Or we did the same in Ramotswa. So this time we are rolling it out in earnest. We are going to try and do it countrywide. But the major problem that we're experiencing is funding, because we are self-funded at the moment.
Yes. You know why I'm smiling when you're mentioning, because I've read this study from Nigeria. They are also doing something similar, talking to the traditional leaders. I am talking with Barry. Barry is a CEO for Alzheimer's Dementia Namibia. He is doing the same thing as well, talking to the chiefs in Namibia. And it seems like it's bearing fruits in terms of awareness. Those are some of the studies that I've read. And I've actually, in my dissertation, there's a recommendation that based on that we have to start from our people, the grassroots there in the villages. So I'm glad that you're doing that.
So that is the program that we are doing. We call it CAT. It's called Kota Educational Tours. So yeah, we've spoken to a lot of traditional leaders. We are still talking to many more across the country. And that is when that will roll out our calendar, maybe through the media and through our own social media platforms, so that people can know when and where we will be. So yeah, it's a task on its own, pinning down this mahosis and yeah. But it will work out because we are driven by passion.
There you go. You see, now that's when I introduced you to say the passion that you have is the only thing that can drive you in this course that we are in. So, Rre Mphathiwa, what kind of support are you hoping for from Botswana? From not just Botswana, remember, it's everyone in the Sub-Saharan Africa. What kind of support are you hoping that they give you as a foundation?
From Botswana's point of view, the only support that they can give us, unfortunately, comes with understanding. You see, the more we work hard as an organization in educating them to understand, fully comprehend what dementia is, that is when we can realize any form of support from them. But we are hoping that our government comes on board and sits with us so that we can find a way of working together under their own program, which unfortunately do not include dementia. But we are hoping that as we talk, they'll find some way in their health plan to squeeze dementia.
It's a new government, so we should expect something better out of it.
The one thing that I like about the new government is that the Ministry of Health is led by someone that has actually a huge experience in this form of healthcare.
All right. No, thank you very much for your time, sir. Botswana, you have heard Rre Mphathi. First thing that I like to emphasize is that dementia is not witchcraft. Sub-Saharan Africa, dementia is not witchcraft. It's an illness. You've heard dementia is not part of aging. It is an illness that needs to be attended to. You have heard Rre Mphathi talking about the foundation that they have formed to create more awareness. The same thing that I'm doing really is just to create more awareness about this illness and find ways on how to assist our loved ones. So I really thank you, Rre Mphathiwa, for taking the time to be with us today.
Okay, no. I really appreciate this. I really appreciate this platform, and I hope your platform grows and you get to talk to many more people that are dealing with this.
Let me take this time to thank you, our listeners, for tuning into this episode. If you have enjoyed our conversation or feel passionate about dementia care like Rre Mphathiwa and myself, please subscribe, leave a review, like and share it with someone who might benefit from it. Your support helps us reach more listeners and raise awareness about dementia-related issues. Until next time, take care and bye for now. Ta-da! Dementia Care. How deep is your love?